How's it going, guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I'm Simplicity. Hope you're having a wonderful day. And in today's video, we're going to run through how I edit my YouTube videos using iMovie. We're going to run through some tips for beginners and all of the tricks that I use to make my videos a little bit more advanced and more interesting, to get that engagement up and to get my audience retention so that people watch my videos for longer. So if you want to learn out how I edit my videos and to see the process that I take, let's get right into the video. Right, guys, so we're going to jump in onto my computer and we're just going to run through the steps that I take. Now, the very first step that I want to do is I want to run through. So the very first step that I do, and it's very basic, that probably most people do, is I like to have my videos to be fast paced and to have no ums and breaths and things like that. So we're going to run through right now and we're going to go ahead and edit out all of those silly little things like that, get rid of the breaks, the breaths, any kind of scene transitions and things like that, just to make the video flow, and then we'll move on to the next step. Let's do that. Okay, guys, so once we've done all that, we've taken out all the ums and the ahs, the really basics of editing a video. If you don't do this, then you're not really editing your video at all. But that's the very first step, is making sure that you've taken out all of those kind of breaks and just awkward pauses and things like that, to make a video flow, make it more professional, and make it more engaging and interesting to your audience. Now we're going to move on and we're going to look at adding in some overlays, titles, and things like that. So let's get back to my screen. Now that we have the ums and ahs out of the video, we are looking at adding some overlays. Very simple ones that I want to do is to go ahead and create some titles for the 5 tips in this video. So to do that, I like to use Canva, and it's just a real simple way to add some titles to it. So let's jump on to Canva. So we're on Canva here and we go creative design, custom dimensions. And I like to just go to the pixels that I know is for a thumbnail on YouTube, because it seems to work well for overlays as well. And then there's just a standard text that I like to use here. Nice, I just like a nice bold text that really stands out and gets people to like it. So I just use these templates here, and then I just add in the text that I want. So I won't bore you with doing this for every single one, but I'm going to show you an example of what I would do for one of my titles. So the first tip was trendy. Trendy topics. If we just grab that here, go trendy. And what I like to do is I like to add a kind of 3D, kind of shadowy look to it. So I just take this one and I duplicate it, change the color to white. And if you really want to, you can actually add an outline to that and all of that. But I tend to have to do that through Photoshop. So I don't really know if you guys have Photoshop, so we're not going to bother with that. But Canva is really great. You don't have to pay for it. I have paid for it because it allows me to do transparent backgrounds and things like that, which are helpful for certain titles. For this particular example, we're not actually going to do that. But here you go, we can see we have trendy as the title. Looks kind of bad at the moment because there's no kind of background to it. So if we actually go here to backgrounds, and you can actually choose a kind of background that you think looks good for your title. I quite like the look, and as you can see here, it kind of shows you which ones are free and which ones aren't. I don't know why, but I quite like the look of this brick one. So you can kind of see there, it's already standing out a lot better than it was before with this brick layout. And it kind of just gives a nice look to it. I don't know if it's quite centered though. So we kind of push that one up there a bit. And then grab this one. And you just use your arrow keys to kind of direction it, because it allows you to kind of move it in a step-by-step process. If you try to drag it with your mouse, it kind of moves in bigger steps, and it doesn't quite move the way you would want it to. It still works, but I just prefer to use the arrow keys, and you get a more precision move. So basically, once you've done that and you're happy with the title, I'm not doing anything fancy here, but any overlay is better than no overlay. So I'm pretty happy with that one. And then we just go here to download, and it looks fine here. I like to use PNG because it kind of gives you the best file size, best image quality. As you see here, high quality image, and it is suggested as the best. You can do JPEG, PDF, and even a video as well. They've actually just brought in that you can do videos through Canva as well. Not really too sure why you would, but the option is available, which is really cool. So we're just downloading this one here. Okay, so now that we have our title, we're going to go ahead and import it into iMovie so that we can add that overlay in here. So if we just go to desktop here, trendy PNG, and then simple as this, you just find where you want it to go, and we just drag it in here. Make sure it actually goes into there, and then you just have to adjust the way you want it to go. At the moment, it always kind of crops it as Ken Burns, which kind of gives you that really cool zoom in effect. So if you wanted something like that, it is pretty nice. Otherwise, you can just go crop to full, and that just kind of sets it to the size that you want, or you just go fit, and that will give you the exact size of the image, which I prefer at this stage. And then as you can see here, if we play it, just gives you a nice little overlay effect there. Something super simple. These are beginner tips, but if it's a way, if you add a nice overlay to your video, it makes it a bit, breaks it up a bit, makes it look good, and there you go. That's how you can do a simple overlay. Now the other tips that I like to do is I like to add in a zoom in effect here. Quite often I do it where you find is kind of picking your moments, so when it actually makes sense. You want to choose either a short scene. You can do scene changes as well, and you don't necessarily have to film a whole lot of different scenes. I do tend to like to do that as well. So up here I do actually have my other scenes as well to go through. As we're going through on the screen, I like to have another overlay that goes with the screens here, as you can see here. But as you can see, I like to do a bit of a zoom in here. So for example, in this nice little short scene here, I like to actually add a Ken Burns effect, which is, like I said, it just nicely zooms in there. And if we play that back here, we can kind of see what it does.
That brings us to tip number 3, which is deliver on your promise.
So you can see that kind of goes with what I say with deliver on your promise. It kind of just gives it a nice effect. It's like the camera is zooming in to really kind of emphasize on what you're saying, and it just makes your video more interesting. Overlays really help with that. They make it more interesting, more engaging, and more likely for your viewers to want to watch it. And then, like I said, another example is if you want to do a scene change. So if we grab this scene here, for example, and I just want to make it a bit different, a bit more interesting, we can go crop to fill. Gives you these white little squares here, and you can actually just zoom in to change the scene a little bit. Once again, it's zooming in, but you can kind of move it all around. So it'd be almost like you set it up off to the side, or if you wanted to centralize it, you could even zoom in all the way. Sometimes this does depend on your camera, but for the most part, you can zoom in and get away with it. If we choose, for example, if we just want to centralize it a bit more on me, and then if we were to play that back, you can kind of see it just gives you a nice kind of centralized image, and then once it kind of changes back, and it just pops back. It's a really cool scene change. It makes it once again more interesting, more exciting, and I really do like to do that. And then of course I like to add music to my videos, so you can just go into audio here on iMovie, and I have my set ones that I have used, which we can just actually grab from YouTube. So if we go over here, and I'll just quickly show you where I actually find these in YouTube. So we go to youtube.com, and if you actually just go to your YouTube studio, here we go. It's really, really simple, guys. If you just go into your YouTube studio, and then it's just right here, audio library, click on that, wait for it to load. And here you have your free music and your sound effects. You can even search, you can go by duration, instrument, mood, genre, and all of these, most of them are completely usable. Some of them do have rights to them, so you may have to mention the rights there, particularly in music videos, so make sure you do check on that. I'll show you an example if we click on this one. Okay, it's not actually showing me. There you go. It says you are free to use the song and monetize your video. So some of them, they will kind of tell you whether you can actually use it. So I can't find one with me right here. Oh. So you'll find most of them, you can use them, they won't be an issue, you can use them, you do not have to mention the rights to that person. Some of them, I think, not some of them, all of them you can use, I believe. You just might have to give rights to that particular person who owns or created that music, but they're all free to use. There'll be no issues with monetizing them, but there might be some rights that you have to mention in your video, in your description, just so that you're all okay and sweet as with YouTube's terms and conditions, and you're not breaching any of the issues with the creator of that song. So I like to add, I'm just happy with flames at the moment, so I've been using that. So I just go ahead and add that in here. And of course, it's not going to be quite as long as I would have liked. So we just go here. And also to zoom in and out, you just drag this little guy here and it zooms in and out of your clips. Rather handy. And I like to have it as just really, really quiet background. So I have it on about 2%, so you can kind of hear it. It kind of fills in the background. You can barely hear it, which is what I like. You'll find that in a lot of movies and TV shows. They actually have background music, and you don't even realize that it's there. That's what I kind of go for with this. I have it super quiet, but enough to just fill in the background. And once again, it just adds to the video, makes it more professional, more interesting. You don't just have those kind of weird silences, you just always have a little bit of background music that just really seems to add to the video, and it tends to make it really, really great, and just really makes it really professional, and I like that. So, and that's pretty much all I do. I also like to add some sound effects to when a title pops up. So you've got your mouse click, you've got, just run through some sound effects here. The main ones that I use is when a scene change, I use the golf one, which is somewhere here. The golf fit one I use for like a scene change when it kind of flips to the next one. Golf fit's really, really good. I have that on about 40%. And I also really like to use the other one is the bottle cork. Once again, it's really great for when something pops up on the screen. Just lets the viewer know that something has popped up on the screen and that it's worth, just gets their attention and makes sure that they realize that something has popped up. Don't necessarily need it for that, or when you want to do a type effect, there's a typewriter effect in here as well, which is really, really handy. So just adding in these effects to once again make it more interesting, make sure that people are noticing when something's popping up on the screen, getting their attention, and allowing you to make your video more interesting, more engaging, and people are going to keep watching your video, getting your audience retention up, and it's just going to help you in the long run to get more longer view. And it's just going to help you with your editing of your videos and making your videos really professional. These are just some real simple tips. Like I said, these are beginner tips, but I feel like everybody has to at least be doing this to give their video that much better chance of doing well and being successful on YouTube. So guys, that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys did find this video helpful. Just a quick little video of my tips of how I edit my YouTube videos using iMovie. It's free, so if you have any Apple software, you can use it, whether it's on your phone, laptop, computer, whatever it might be. You can use iMovie for free, and it is some amazing software that's really great. If you wanted to get a bit more creative and do some really cool effects and edits and things like that, Final Cut Pro is a little bit better, but it is quite expensive. There are a lot of ways you can actually use iMovie to do all of the stuff that you need for Final Cut Pro, but as you'd expect, there's just some things that you can't do. If you want to see more videos like this one, I can show you how to do some cool animations and things like that using Keynote, which also comes free with your Apple products. If you guys want to see more videos just like this one, and you did in fact enjoy this one, make sure you give it a thumbs up and comment down below of more videos that you would like to see. Hope you guys are enjoying these kind of videos. If you did and you want to see more videos, make sure that you do subscribe so you don't miss out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out.